I made a giant mistake on one of my accounts today that led me to losing that account, but I also found a way to win on two other accounts and finish up the day $1,500 on those accounts. And we'll go over the biggest lessons on the price action side of things as well as on the account management side of things. But if you look at the TradeZella here, it says down $2,500, let's say, but it's really $1,500 in green across two accounts and a $4,000 loss, which we'll get into. But let's walk through the day here and take it trade by trade. I actually had a nice winning pre-market trade here for $1,000 on just simple trend continuation. This is at 8:18 in the morning. Now, I don't always trade pre-market. I'd say 90% of my trades still come after the opening range is set, after the New York Open. There's just some of those mornings when the trend is very clear and we have some pretty good volatility that there's no harm in trying out an idea pre-market. But again, I don't always try to do it. I'm not always even looking at the charts that early on in the morning. But you can see clearly identifiable bullish trend. End of the pullback, buyers step in on the high day view up break. Let's go continue that trend that we have pre-market. Very simple, very easy. If you haven't seen that strategy already, I talk about that all the time here in Futures 2.0 on ASFX TV. So definitely go through that if you're confused on any of these setups and you want to learn more. Then we get into the New York Open. Now on a different account, I bagged 1,000 on that account. It is locked down for the day. Now this is on NQ. A choppy open, but news pushed us higher, and then we're holding this New York view up. So I know I want to be a buyer today because of the 15-minute side of things, which we'll check out. But again, mid-range trade, but buyers are holding control above the New York view up. I know I can get a good stop loss at low a day, and I take profits trailing that stop loss very aggressively at the open range high, trading level to level. If I'm trading a breakout of this open range high, then maybe I'll look to run it because it's breaking out. If I'm trading it mid-range, I'm then trading level to level. If I'm in the middle of the range, I'm going to the top. If I'm shorting it from the middle of the range, I'm trading it to the bottom. So thankfully, I did take profits slightly at this open range high and able to get a small win. Nothing crazy out of that because it's not a lot of move, less than 1R and not a lot of size. But then we switch to the shorts because the buyers are really kind of struggling up here. You can see we have nice holds of this New York VWAP, but buyers really couldn't break us out with that strength, carry that momentum from the open and that original trade idea that I had. So I started questioning the longs. Maybe I probably shouldn't have right then and there. That I jump in a short once sellers take this New York VWAP. Now, I would say even if this did win, let's say it easily went for a new low a day, it's still not my best trade. I know I struggle with this trade the most because although I'm not fighting the VWAP anymore in terms of we're below it, sellers are in control, I'm fighting all the structure on the 15-minute and even the structure here on the 1 minute of higher highs and higher lows. The sentiment has been bullish. I don't want to try to time when the sentiment is going to then switch to bearish. I just don't do very well with it. Again, mid-range, similar to this first one, I've longed it here at this price, and now I'm selling it at that price. But on the long side of things, being mid-range, I'm with the structure. On this mid-range short, I'm kind of fighting the structure overall. That's why I don't love it. It goes into profit a little bit. A lesson on this could have been if I had a stop loss at the very high a day, would have barely just held through it, maybe even survived and held it even longer. I probably would have just looked to getting out at break even after all that drawdown. But I would have figured if it breaks out on the open range high, I don't want to be short. This thing's probably coming higher, which it did go a little bit higher, but did not continue bullish on the day. So again, maybe there's some criticism on where that stop loss should have been for this idea. I just know I don't really want to be in this short for too long if we're back above New York. So there's the loss on the day. But then we make it back over here. I've seen so many tweets about it. I always jump in on it, especially lately. The opening range here, these black horizontal lines are a 15-minute opening range. If we're stuck in this range at like 10:30, 11 a.m. Eastern, and the list goes on later on in the day, I don't want to touch it because it's clearly not a great sign of trend being it and identifiable. We should be outside of this level, making new lows or making new highs, and then I'm looking to carry that trend in the same direction. But there's clearly no trend if we're stuck in this range 2 hours after the open, right? So first things first, here was my short here, right? Maybe the better short would have been that price, but just a little bit later on, right? It does drop from there like I wanted to do back here, but I just wanted to test these highs one more time. But still, not a great short because it's tough to want to time that. But new information. Give me new information. Just make a new high a day, then I'll like the longs. Give me a new low a day, and I'll like the shorts. Because all this noise within the range is just chopping me around, confusing me, enticing me to do things. Then let me just get out of it. We do get that break. New low a day. Okay, sellers were able to take control. They won that battle, kind of like we thought earlier. But okay, now we have evidence that we're able to make a new low a day. Well, now maybe there's some sign of trend. Now let me just try to ride that trend and get involved before it keeps on going lower. So you can see we pull back to this opening range low, which is also the initial balance low. So the key level there, I'm testing out this handoff view up from the last time we touched New York view up here. I made a video about that one recently as well. And I'm just getting in on the break of low a day view up, saying sellers are back in after the pullback. And I take it for a small new low a day, making back that loss. Beautiful. So a nice winner to get back into the direction of trend with the sentiment, with the structure outside of my levels. That's probably what I should be waiting for rather than even trying to short this, trying to short that, trying to long this, whatever the case may be. If it's in this range, I don't want it because I don't trade it well. I trade better outside of these levels because then the trend is clear. It's going to be easier to just trade it when there's easy trend. But if I'm trying to force the trend to come in, that's when things get messy. But now let's get to this next trade. And again, all these trades were on Top 1 Futures where if you need an account, all the links are down below for everything, but they're running 50% off right now if you use code EVAN. I'm going to have to personally use it again today because this is the next trade. Beautiful trade. Make a new low a day. After I got out of my short back here, makes another new low. Let it pull back. Key level again. Initial balance low. Same level I retested off my first trade. Break of low a day view up. So that is the entry. I have it marked up here somewhere in my trade Zeller. We could pull that up. But I was on a meeting at this time until I got out of the meeting. I then see it break below the low a day view up again. Sellers are back in control. And now it actually even just made a lower high. So now I really like this stop loss because now I have a level of protection of a structure. But the problem with this trade, I put on 10 minis. So for anyone that doesn't know the math, that's $500 every point of movement. This is a 22-point stop loss. It didn't even get anywhere close to moving that far before I closed it because that's way too much size and clearly not what I meant to do. It was over here on Top 1 on the Project X platform. I just switched from NQ to ES. I just typed in ES to switch assets, but I didn't type in the micros of MES. So clearly a mistake on my fault, but just super unfortunate because the idea would have played out. It's a nice break of low day view up. The sentiment's clearly bearish. We're off a key level. There's nothing wrong with the trade. It's one you should be in. Even if you took that one with the stop loss at structure, it does survive through this pullback and fall for a new low. So it's a winner regardless, whether you took it where I did earlier or even maybe even a little bit later back here when sellers take it one last time and are ready to go. But I would just size way too heavy on accident, but it's the reality. 10 minis is just way too heavy for any account size. Before I could even blink, I was down like $2,000. I clicked the X and a couple points of movement. It's already at $4,000 because it's moving $500 a point. So super unfortunate because I just lost $4,000 before I could even blink. But thankfully, it was on its own account. So that one's gone. It's not lost, but I'm going to say it's gone just because I don't want to have to make back $4,000 because that's going to screw the consistency rule. If I try to make all $4,000 back in the same day, that's going to really screw the consistency because then I got to get that account to like $20,000 before I could take a payout to get 20% consistency. So the only way to keep the consistency down or the account balance down would be to slowly chip away at it like $1,000 a day. But that's going to take me at least a week just to get back the loss, which isn't the end of the world. Definitely feasible and definitely could be the reality for some people. I just don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I'd rather just spend another $300 and get instant redo because that's the beauty of these prop firms. I messed up. I failed. Let me try again. Of course, you got to invest again, but spending $300 or having to maybe spend 2 more weeks just to get back to break even and then start seeing profits again, or can I just start at zero again today and any profits I make moving forward are mine? They're not digging out of a hole. So I think I'm probably just going to do that. Throw that account to the side. That sucks, but I'm not going to deal with that consistency rule. Let's focus on the one that made $1,000 today and the one that made $500 today. We'll take those small wins, looking at it as a small win on the day, even though I lost an account. Still made some money today on 2 other accounts. Let's keep pushing those forward. And then, yeah, it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it, but definitely a bad mistake, a silly mistake, unprofessional mistake that I want to make sure doesn't happen again. And I want to warn you guys to always be careful of that one as well, to make sure you're on the right asset of the minis versus the micros. When we look back at the charts here again, you can see the first entry would be this break of low a day view up after the retest to opening range low and initial balance low. And if you spread it out, it never would have lost if you've seen Futures 2.0, like I mentioned earlier. Stop loss would be at structure. So it takes on some heat, no doubt about it, but it just builds lower highs. Sellers ultimately win that battle, and it makes its way back to low a day. The only one that doesn't win is this low a day view up break back here. The argument would maybe be it's not off a key level, as this one is, right off initial balance low here on my first trade. as well as the initial balance low on this trade over here as well. So another lesson though, it's not easy money in the afternoon, but a lot more identifiable to the downside. What key levels to play off of, when to get in on the lower day view up break. But back here, kind of looks bullish, kind of looks bearish. I'm leaving all this alone. Get out of this range, then it will really tell me what direction I should be looking. And then after they popped out to the downside here, the shorts become so easy. And it's almost easier to trade than try to force, is this going to be the time it pops lower? Or does it in fact pop higher? Oh wait, no, it is going to come back lower. Too much back and forth, not that much new information to sway one side or another. So again, I'm always going to advocate, try to wait for it to get out of these ranges. If it's not already getting out at like 9:30 to 10 o'clock, if we're not outside this open range, all right, well then I'm going to wait for it too, right? Because I mean, when I took this first trade, it's 9:45. Of course, we're going to be inside the open range. That's fine. But if it's like 10:15, 10:30 now, all right, that's an issue. We should probably be out of this range if we do have clear trend. Clearly, there's no clear trend today. So hopefully you guys will learn from my mistakes today. Again, it's a silly one. The trading wasn't even that bad. I would say I definitely want to be more strict with myself and be more disciplined to not even take these trades. I feel like I am taking them, but then battling my way back to win them back later on. I want to get back to the place of avoiding these ones and only capitalizing on the easier winners later on in the day so I could just have nice green days rather than battle days and making it back, right? Because the trend easily can be capitalized on over here if you could just survive this first hour and a half, 2 hours of choppiness. And then again, of course, always double check if you're on the micros or the minis on the Project X platform. And hopefully if you ever accidentally trade the minis, it's with like 1 or 2, not 10, because that's big boy size right there. Big, big, big boy size. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to check out Top 1 Futures if you need an account. Feel free to reach out with any questions or videos you guys want to see next. But trade safe, please. I'll see you on the charts tomorrow morning.